Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyper Roll from Mission for Tuition. You know what it's all about. We're trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition because he has to go to a ridiculously expensive special school. We don't ask for donations, nothing like that. It's all about views. So please help the algorithm, like, comment, subscribe, do all of the good stuff to help bring views to the video and thus more money for tuition. And with that said, let's get started on video 2 of what I promised I'd be doing in showing some mutant builds this season. Now the key here is that the game just handed me a 3-cost mutant right out of the start. And I was able to see that the mutant buff is Voracious Appetite, which means that your champions will grow stronger as earlier ones die. So the more champions you have out, the weaker your front line is, the stronger your back line is going to become. When I get a second 3-cost mutant out of the first round, and then a mutant heart, there's only one way left to go. You gotta go mutant at that point. Always pay attention to the game. And even though it's not an amazing build for a Cho'Gath, because you want more champions out there, I'm not gonna pass up a 3-cost mutant. Just not gonna do it. And as I mentioned in my previous mutant video, once you get a Cho, you want to get it out there quickly because these feast stacks last throughout the entire game. So you want to get stacks on as early and often as possible. The choice of a chain vest is easy. Titan's Resolve is so good on Cho'Gath because he's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the match. The only problem is because I have a Colossus in right now, I'm not getting much benefit from the actual mutant buff, because Malzahar will only get more powerful once Cho dies, but since it's just a little 1-cost Malzahar back there, being a little more powerful ain't gonna help too much. And unfortunately, this problem is going to persist through the next couple of fights. Just not getting an advantage at this moment from the mutant buff. And even though I've been able to 2-star the Malzahar, it's not going to be enough to keep me in these fights when I'm losing champions that early and not gaining enough power from them. Now it's time for our second augment, and we get one that can actually be a lot of fun. I debated with Sunfire Board to just weaken the team overall, but Phalanx 2 will allow me to pull my entire team back and make them stronger because they'll get additional armor and magic resist. This will put them into the back line and allow the match to last a little bit longer. Remember, these champions get stronger as allies go down, so the longer the fight lasts, and especially if I can put a sacrificial person out in front later on, it's going to make them stronger. And here you can see the concepts all start to come together. Starting in the back line, they have more armor and magic resist, so they're stronger. As the champions go down, as Cassiding goes down here, Malzahar and Cho are getting more powerful, which allows them to hold up against some relentless attacks. Having come through the NPC round with an additional Titan's Resolve on my bench, I'm looking more towards Malzahar at this point, so I pick up the Needlessly Large Rod. I can make a second Titan's Resolve on Cho, which is just going to allow him to grow even bigger than before. I've also stuck a Vex out in front, and again, that's because in this mutant buff, as allies go down, they gain additional power. So Vex is triggering the Arcanist buff for the entire team, but also acting as a sacrificial lamb who will cause the rest of the team to gain power. And you will see as the allies drop, my champions become stronger. And with Cho with the double Titan's Resolve, he's going to become quite large, strong, and very difficult to kill. So just to showcase this, each time an ally dies, every champion is gaining 30 attack damage and ability power. And when you have a Cho who is doing this much damage from his feasting, from the Titan's resolve, and also from the stacks, he's going to be close to one-shotting things each time his ult goes off. Headed into the final augment, I was hoping for something that would really help out what I was doing, and armor plating is exactly what I'm looking for. That is going to allow Cho a stopping point for taking damage, which will allow him to become even stronger, powering up, gaining more feasts, and just overall becoming an absolute force in this game. The only problem is I've run out of individual items, and I never got the chance to put the Hextech Gunblade onto Malzahar, which is such a key item as it allows him to just pour out healing as he goes. I brought a Syndra into the backline simply because it'll help keep things off of Malzahar, who I'm thinking is going to be a real secondary carry, which is why I'm going to end up putting the Rabadon's Death Cap on him, because again, they're gaining a lot of ability power and damage as they go, and this will make him infinitely more powerful. The armor plating is really helping with Cho as it allows those damage stopping points. It would be even more effective if I happened to have the Hextech Gunblade on Malzahar, because then it could heal him back up, but you could see right there, he was able to stop taking damage, turn around, feast, and finish off the team. Now the NPC had just given me a Hand of Justice, so this set of items ended up to be a real head scratcher for me. I had Scholar ticked because I had Syndra in the backline. So she was my Scholar, so I didn't necessarily need a Scholar emblem. I could have used it and then taken her out, but she was serving a good purpose. Edge of Night and Runan's Hurricane just didn't work, so I decided to go ahead and get a second Hand of Justice, not necessarily to stack onto Malzahar, because I'm still dreaming of maybe getting the Hextech Gunblade someday, but I put it on Syndra as an item holder in the hopes that I can find the Kaisa I'm looking for to get to my 7 mutants. And it's not just Kaisa, I'm also so close to my gold Cho, a gold Kassadin, and everything else I would need to make this even stronger, but for now this Tryndamere, well, he's going to tear me apart with his Blades of Full Evil. But Gary's here, and I get to go to my gold Cho. And one of the reasons I love stacking Titan's Resolve onto Cho'Gath is because it ultimately will turn him into Chozilla. Just so big that he doesn't even fit on the screen anymore. And with Cho dancing his celebratory dance with a big chunk of him missing from the screen, we have moved into the top 4. And I was really hoping for the Hextech Gunblade, but it just wasn't going to happen this match. I decided to go with Edge of Night, and there was a tiny piece of me thinking I can put it on Malzahar so he could escape damage, but instead I put it on Syndra as the item holder for Kaisa. I have Zac out front, just as another sacrificial lamb, find my Kaisa, say goodbye to Syndra, and all those items move over to Kaisa, because now I have the 7 mutant buff, along with the armor plating, and I'm going to get a ton of additional damage as champions go down. This is hopefully going to empower Kaisa so much that anything Cho isn't able to gobble, she and Malzahar are able to clean up. Remember, we're also running Phalanx, so the champions that are in the back 2 rows, well, they get super powerful. And I'll skip you through some of the rolling, but it's really important to make sure you get the champions you need. And when I saw the chance to get the 2-star Kaisa, it's worth selling that additional Kha'Zix, because Kha'Zix ultimately is not really carrying this team. He's fodder, he dies, he helps empower them. Kaisa and Cho and Malzahar, they're the ones I'm counting on to win this. And ultimately, it's now likely going to come down to Kaisa more than anyone else. And this team has a Zeri that can absolutely tear us apart, but that additional attack damage and AP coming from Voracious Appetite allows us to win, although they surrendered moments before it was about to end anyway. And now we go into the 1v1 portion of TFT, where we see if we can outlast the other team. I decide to pull Zac out so that I can put in Silco so that I can get additional casting. He will give Cho and Malzahar the ability to start this match off by casting, which will be really critical because Cho's ult should be able to nearly one-shot anyone on the team. Of course, that's when he gets to them. We have a sacrificial lamb in front of him who's meant to go down so that the entire team can gain more power overall. Keep your eye on Kai'Sa though. She's the real key to this. She's staying out of the fray and keeping herself alive, ultimately gaining enough power to win the match, although it's Cho who leads the damage charts. Like I said before, Mutant is really strong this season, especially if you can get to 7. Give it a shot. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.